apathetic, cold, callous. These were words that described Gakushu Asano. Well, at least Yln used these words to describe him that way. She stared at her reflection in the mirror, which seemed to be moving on her own. She had no clue how to react. "Nice to meet you, I'm fate itself." After a few seconds of silence, Yln finally spoke. "I'm sorry?" Yln continued to stare at her reflection that was for some reason speaking in a British accent. She never really believed in a predetermined fate. She always believed that she was the only person that could decide how her life would end up. She picked up her towel once more, finished drying her hair, and walked out of her bathroom. "Maybe I should start cutting back on hours to get more sleep," she mumbled. "I'm starting to see shit." "Wait, no, don't leave!" Fate cried out. Yln got dressed into her work uniform since she had work to go to. Her work uniform consisted of a black dress that reached her knees, with sleeves that ended at her elbows, black leggings, and a black rectangular waist apron, and black ankle boots. Fate, who was now Yln wearing her uniform, reappeared in her bedroom mirror. "Please, listen to me." Yln flinched. "Okay, wait. How did you?" "I told you," Fate sang. "I'm Fate. I'm just using your reflection as a way to communicate with you." "So, you're a god?" Yln questioned. "No, I'm Fate," Fate repeated. "Now, let me explain why I'm talking to you today." "Right," Yln trailed off. "I'm the one who paired you and Gakushu Asano together," they told her. "Ah, so you're the one who made the mistake," she mused. "It wasn't a mistake." Her own face pouted in the mirror. "I see good things happening to you two." Yln started speaking in her own mock British accent. "Oh, and Mercury is in a retrograde, which is why global warming exists. Maybe you should go fix that instead of Asano's and my relationship." "Okay, wait. I don't control what planets are in retrograde, and that is not at all why global warming exists. Also, do not make fun of me." "I'm very well aware of how global warming works." Yln rolled her eyes, crossing her arms. "Why did you, if you actually are real and I'm not just having some weird dream, decide to pair us up?" "You know I can't tell you that." Fate playfully grinned at her. "That ruins the whole point of you two being soulmates." "Which is?" Yln cocked an eyebrow. "Because soulmates make Earth go round and me, Fate, thrive," Fate said with a sparkle in Yln's eyes. "Okay, but why did it have to be Asano Jr. of all people?" Yln scowled. "Because you two would be a good duo if you gave each other a chance," Fate stated. Yln's reflection morphed into Gakushu's face as Fate continued talking. "He's a wee bit of a charmer, see?" "He's one of the last people I want to be with," Yln sarcastically laughed. "Oh, come on." Fate warped back into Yln's face. "You two are so infuriating. It's been about 3 years since the both of you found out, and yet neither of you has said a word to each other." "Okay, so then do something about it," Yln plainly stated, waving around an eyeliner pen. "That's exactly what I'm trying to do here. I'm actually quite miffed about the way you two treat each other." Fate whined. "It's been literal centuries since I've had to use this reflection trick on a pair of soulmates, but I will have you know it's worked on all occasions." Why is Fate so hellbent on hooking up two 17-year-olds together? Yln sighed. "Out of the 7.8 billion people on this earth, why are you focusing your attention on us?" "Because you two need each other." Yln snorted. "I didn't know that Fate liked to tell jokes." Fate rolled their eye-colored eyes. "I'm serious. Take a look." Fate snapped their fingers, and Yln saw her own reflection in the mirror, one that was controlled by her. She took the chance to apply wings onto the eyelids of her eyes. You, Lɪṛd, with the overly independent disposition and mildly sharp attitude, who is also secretly more hardworking than she comes off, not to mention quite talented in visual arts. Beside her, Fate warped back into the strawberry blonde that she spited so much. Hwan applied clear lip gloss on her lips as Fate kept talking. Him, Gakushu Asano, the board chairman's son, who's arguably handsome, but still a boy who is about as dull as a dishwasher. You can help him live a little bit. By the way, I don't just watch over you two, I watch over the other 7.798 billion people as well. Hwan let out a sigh. I don't understand why you're trying so hard to sell him to me. Yes, he is easy on the eyes, but underneath the pretty looks, he's manipulative, cold, arrogant, and callous. I want nothing to do with someone like that. I could do so much better than that. What if I told you that even more underneath that? He's softer than you expected. Fate suggested. He's not as grotty as you think. I guarantee it. Hwan shook her head. Just because he's secretly nice on the inside doesn't change the fact that he treats everyone around him like garbage. Hwan scowled. Well, maybe not garbage, more like puppets. I'm sorry, but Asano and I are not the pair that you want us to be. Now I have work. Please don't try to contact me again. Once Hwan left her apartment and locked the door behind her, she hopped onto her bike and cycled away. Why are humans so difficult when it comes to these things? They huffed. Maybe this will be harder than I thought. At the moment, Gakushu Asano entered his room. He let out a tired sigh as he sat at his desk. He opened up a composition notebook to begin going over notes. He had just gotten out of a meeting with his father's friend's daughter. Her name was Yumiko Akamine. She was pretty, but not at all interesting to Gakushu. In all honesty, she was trying her best to make the most of their forced relationship. Thing was, he shot her down multiple times as politely as he could. However, his father kept encouraging her to get on Gakushu's good side. Gakushu was very well aware that his father was only trying to make him crack, much like the ones before. This was a lesson taught by his father that Gakushu didn't like or think he needed. Psst. He froze when he heard a random voice call out to him. He cautiously looked around. Over here! His eyes widened. Who's there? It went quiet for a moment as he looked at himself in the mirror. I'm just tired. He sighed. His own reflection seemed to beam at him. Hi, I'm Fate. Gakushu rubbed his eyes and blinked. His own reflection seemed to have waved at him. Gakushu was speechless. Fate sighed. You and your soulmate are such a hassle to deal with. Gakushu narrowed his eyes at his reflection. How do you... Fate groaned. I swear to life if someone asks me that again today, I'm going to go mad. Do you not understand that I'm Fate? Gakushu scowled. Enough of this. Who are you and why are you in my mirror? Gakushu doesn't believe in fate. He believes that you're your own future and you can change it at will. He looked behind his mirror, only to find that there was no writing for Fate to be a digital figure. Hey, what are you doing? Trying to check yourself out, you cheeky monkey? Fate tesked in the mirror. Gakushu crossed his arms and stared at his own reflection. I'm the one who made the decision to pair you and Lɪṛd up. So you're the one who made that mistake. Gakushu mused. That's funny, because she said the exact same thing when I visited her a second ago. Fate giggled. Makes sense, because you're soulmates. Gakushu scoffed as he began tapping the edges of the sheets of paper together to form a tarp. That's rich, coming from Fate. If you really expect me to believe you, then release me from this arranged marriage my father forced me into. Gakushu stated, either give me a better soulmate or a better fiancé. I can't do that. Things happen for a reason. Fate flapped their hand back and forth, but furrowed their brows when they saw Gakushu taping the paper tarp over his mirror. What are you doing? I have a math test tomorrow, and I could care less about this situation. Gakushu went back to his seat. Fate let out a groan and transferred themselves to Gakushu's reflection in the window. I just wanted to have a bit of a chin wag with you. I beg your pardon? Gakushu raised an eyebrow. Like I said to Ryan, you two have me absolutely miffed. Fate sighed. You haven't spoken in literal years. I wonder why. Gakushu sarcastically hummed. Don't get saucy with me, boy. Fate scowled. For soulmates, you two don't even act like either one of you exists. Because that's what we agreed on. Now leave me alone. Gakushu pulled his blinds down, making Fate sigh in frustration. You two never even said that out loud. Then, an idea came into Fate's mind. They warped themselves into the reflection of Gakushu's phone. On a completely unrelated note, Gakushu's eyebrows twitched in annoyance as Fate continued talking. There's a cafe you ought to see. It's called Lucette's. Fate hummed. After that awful interaction with Yumiko, you might as well go treat yourself. Gakushu narrowed his eyes at his own reflection. This is a trick, isn't it? Ellen's going to somehow be there. Fate inwardly flinched. I won't confirm anything, but don't you fancy a cuppa? They have good tea from what I hear. Forget it. I told you, I have a math test tomorrow. Akabane won't let me hear the end of it if I lose to him. Gakushu informed, not looking up from his notebook. Fate deadpanned and furrowed their brows. They took a deep breath. You leave me no choice. Gakushu looked up with a raised eyebrow when Fate snapped their fingers. Suddenly, his vision was becoming gray. The only color was a path leading from his seat to his bedroom door. You're not getting your color vision back until you go check it out. Fate hummed with a cheeky grin. I said I have to study. Unfortunately, your math teacher just got food poisoning after eating some potato salad from that American restaurant. Gakushu scowled. Why are you trying so hard? Because I don't like being wrong. Now, you of all people must understand what I mean by that. Fate shook their head. Now go on, shoo. Fate left his reflection. Gakushu leaned back, filled with frustration. Damn you, Fate. Thank you for stopping by, Wayne told a customer who left. She wiped down a table as the cafe door swung open. Wayne whipped around full of zest. She grinned when she saw her best friend from 3E. Nice to see you again, Nakamura. The blonde, blue-eyed girl beamed at her. So formal, especially for someone like you, nickname. What's that supposed to mean? Wayne scowled. You know exactly what I mean, hun. Rio hummed. What are you doing here, though? Wayne asked, sprang down a table. Is it wrong to want to check on my friend at work? Rio chuckled and sat down at the table far from the door. I haven't seen you in a while. Well, I'm sorry to say, but I don't get off until 10. Wayne shrugged. Seriously? It's a school night, isn't it? Rio asked. You know, sometimes I admire your will. Well, Wayne trailed off. What about this weekend? Rio asked. I can't. I have more work. Wayne frowned. Damn. Do you have any free time? Rio pouted. Between school and work? Not really, now that you mention it. Girl, you need to live a little bit. We've got one more year until we're officially adults. Rio pointed out. You've got to live out your teenage years. Wayne chided with a sigh. I'll work on it. The cafe door swung open, but Wayne didn't look up. Rio was the first to look back. Uh-oh, she sighed, almost mockingly. Look who the cat dragged in. Wayne looked up. Her blood immediately started to boil. Gakushu's eyebrows twitched as Wayne looked away. I knew it. Gakushu inwardly groaned. At the moment, everything was gray for him, except for Wayne, and the spot fate wanted him to sit at. Wayne whispered to Rio, Why the fuck is he here? I don't know, but isn't it your job to take his order? Rio mocked. Rio, please. You know for a fact that I'd much rather chew off my own foot. He'll get his money. Wayne took a side glance to him. Why is he just standing there? It took Gakushu a second of staring at the seat with pure rage for him to sit down. Why does he look so angry? Rio laughed dryly. Man, fuck this. Carrie can take his order. Ellen. Her shift manager approached her with a worried look. Do you mind if you can handle the customers on your own for right now? Carrie had to go home. I think she got food poisoning from eating a potato salad from a restaurant down the street. I'm gonna look for someone who can replace her at the moment. Wayne held herself back from having a temper tantrum right then and there. Yes, sir. It'll be no problem. She smiled with a sickly sweet voice. "You're the best, Ellen." When her shift manager turned his back to her, her smile became sarcastic and sour. Gakushu impatiently waited at his table with his arms crossed. "Psst, Gakushu." He turned his head to the side and faced his reflection in the window. He irked and took out his phone. He put it up to his ear to pretend like he was talking on the phone. "Well, I'm here," Gakushu irritably pointed out. "Can I go home now?" Fate laughed at him. "No, of course not." "Why not?" "Just look." Gakushu took a small side glance to the hair-colored girl. He'd be lying if he said he wasn't taken aback by the fact that she was working there. Gakushu always thought she was the lazy, temperamental type of person. "Isn't she just adorable?" Fate gushed. Wyan was scribbling down Ryo's order as Gakushu looked her up and down. He noticed how her thin and not too excessive eyeliner made her eye-colored eyes stand out more. Her lips looked so shiny, but not too sparkly to the point that it was obnoxious. Her favorite colored tips of the hair complemented the eye color of her eyes. The black waist apron hugged her waist ever so delicately. She was pretty, but that doesn't change the fact that she was stubborn and rude. "No," Gakushu curtly replied. "She isn't." Fate rolled her eyes. "You two make so many assumptions about each other when you haven't even had a full conversation with each other." Wyan let out a sigh and took out her pen and notepad. "I'll get your order first, Ryo," she stated. "I'll have a cappuccino with a caprese sandwich that tastes like pizza." Wyan chuckled and wrote down her order and then sighed. "I don't want to have a soulmate." "At least you have one. Now go get that cash. Or even better, his black card." Ryo giggled. "We can share on a trip to Singapore." "Ryo, please. You know, he's more than just money, right?" Wyan deadpanned. "Shoo, shoo." Once she put Ryo's order in, Wyan internally groaned. Every step she took towards Gakushu made her stomach twist. She felt like she was going to throw up. She approached his table and plastered a sickeningly sweet smile on her face. "What can I get for you?" Her very pride was screaming at the very moment. Gakushu mirrored her fake smile with a touch of his natural charisma. "1 chamomile tea, stick in the mud." Wyan inwardly insulted. "Audience fiend," Gakushu inwardly slandered. However, neither of them voiced their thoughts to their dear soulmate. Fate watched the two interact and clicked their tongue. "Are you two really serious right now?" Wyan looked up at her own reflection in the window and narrowed her eyes. "I'll have that right out for you," she hummed and walked away. She made a beeline straight to the women's restroom, slammed her hands on the counter in front of the mirror. "You brought him here, didn't you?" She sneered at her own reflection. "Whatever do you mean?" Fate batted their eyelashes innocently at Wyan. "Did he even come here out of his own violation?" Wyan scoffed. I may have pulled the strings, just a little bit," Fate whistled. "Especially the red strings of fate." Wyan rolled her eyes. "I guess those exist now too." "I don't have time for your games, Fate." She scowled. "Why can't you just leave me alone?" "Because I don't want to. Now go do your job." Fate disappeared from Wyan's reflection. "Hey, wait!" Wyan shouted, full of irritation. One of the bathroom stalls swung open, and a middle-aged lady stared at her as if she was crazy. To her, it sounded like Wyan was having a conversation with herself. Sorry. Wyan sighed as she washed her hands. She walked back out and brewed Gakushu a cup of tea. Despite being angry, she gently placed the cup down in front of him. "Will that be all?" "Yes." Fate groaned from their individual reflections. "No!" They both ignored Fate's objections about their interactions. To both of their relief, Gakushu soon paid and took his leave with his color vision back. As she picked up his empty cup, she noticed the paper left on the table. 2 slips of 1,000 yen, which was about $10, which meant Gakushu tipped Wyan $20. "Okay, wait." Fate looked down at the money. "I didn't tell him to leave a tip." Wyan picked it up. Is it even a tip, or just did he leave it on accident?" Ryo, who thought she was talking to herself, approached her. "No, I saw him pull it out of his wallet and just leave it there." Seriously? Wayne raised an eyebrow. He could have just told me to keep the change from his order, and that would have been fine. Who knows? Rio shrugged. Maybe he's changing a little bit since junior high. Wayne stared at the money. She didn't believe it one bit. Hi everyone. So, yeah, you guys want me to keep reading the story, and honestly, I think I'm invested now. I'm invested. Go give the author kudos on AO3. I'm gonna do that right now. See, I created an AO3 account, and I literally never posted, even though I was supposed to. I think life just got in the way. Or maybe I got lazy. Who knows? Okay. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this. Have an amazing morning. Have an amazing evening. Have an amazing afternoon whenever you are. And I'll see you guys hopefully tomorrow. Goodbye, everyone.